Welcome back to the One Piece Doc Podcast with me, Mr. Six, and
Erik. And today we're going to talk about some interesting things. You want to fill us in?
yeah, we're going to talk about awakenings. And not just anybody's awakening, Luffy's awakening. Because I've been pressing this topic for a little bit to talk about on this podcast.
Oh yeah, and it's actually probably one of the most interesting things we can talk about because right now Luffy he's practicing his hockey, but eventually he's going to need to awaken just like a lot of the other top characters. We know, the Zone awakened, it just makes him stronger. We know Doflamingo was awakened and made him stronger, but Luffy's still quite weaker than Kaido and Big Mom. He's going to need something like that.
He needs more firepower. So,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people, fans, readers that I've seen, they assume that Luffy will just make everything rubber.
His environment, right? 'Cause,
His environment.
Akainu, Akuiji, when they had their awakenings, it affected their environment.
So,
Doflamingo.
for me, and I could be wrong, but I will throw this idea out there. What if, or I don't, okay, I don't like that idea, and here's why. Luffy, okay, I'll take Doflamingo. What's his devil fruit?
Strings. He can produce strings.
Keyword produce. His devil's fruit produces something, and so his awakening to me makes sense because he produces strings, and when he walks or touches his surroundings, those surroundings just become strings because that is part of his the base power of the devil fruit. Correct?
True, that's correct. Yeah.
And zones, their awakening, they don't make other
Get tougher, faster recovery time.
exactly, but they're not
stronger.
affecting the environment. They're affecting themselves.
They can go into that monster form. yeah.
Exactly, but that's a
Imperfect awakening when they're stuck
no.
there.
That's like just themselves,
Mhm.
but they're not affecting anybody else except with who they attack.
Mhm.
But so, in my mind, what makes sense to me is Luffy's awakening is not he's not gonna affect anything externally in my mind, because
He could.
I'm not saying he couldn't. I'm not saying Oda couldn't go that direction, but I personally don't like that idea of that.
It would be,
And
it would be easy.
huh?
It would be easy.
Yeah, it'd be like a really easy, because it's just kind of like copy. Oh, we've seen this, so we would think it would just go into, it would just be like, oh, he makes everything rubber.
Does Oda
But
ever do anything that you expect?
no, so
What if
like,
this was
because
the time that
like
he
what
did,
would
though?
What
if this was the time that he did this? Like, yeah, they don't expect me to do the thing that they all are thinking about because it's too obvious. And boom,
he
hits
does
you-
it,
He hits
but
you
it
with
is twist.
the Oda twist.
But so okay, I'm giving you all these things I
Mm-hmm.
don't think that Luffy's awakening would be in my reasonings. So let me tell you what I would speculate it would be. Something, it maybe not this exactly, but something along these lines.
Mm.
So like the zone. The zones don't affect other people. It just increases their power themselves. So what if Luffy, because he is rubber, right? We know that he absorbs impacts that are exerted on him, right? Like a bullet. Like a bullet, it goes, it doesn't pierce him, but it goes through his body and it slows down, and then the rubber is it's transferring that energy to the rubber to then
Elastic
ricochet it
potential
back.
energy, yeah. It
Right,
builds a
the
lot of potential
building,
energy
yeah,
and
the
shoots it back. Boom.
potential energy, yeah. And so I was thinking about this when I'm driving to and from work. I'm like, what could Luffy's awakening be? And it hit me. So if you ever taken a physics class, you'll know about this, some scrub named Newton,
Even
right?
in high school, yeah, you learn about Newton.
Yeah, some scrub named Newton. Not
He's a
really
scrub.
important, right?
All he
Not,
all he
yeah,
all he learned about was
doesn't
apples and stuff.
you know nothing.
Nothing important.
Basically nothing. But
Yeah.
so he has 3 laws. So the law I'm going to focus on for Luffy would be Newton's 3rd law, which is
Every action has an equal and opposite reaction.
exactly. So what if, like, okay, and I'll give you a scenario to picture this, to introduce this idea. Luffy's fighting like someone like Kaido, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kaido like hits him, does like a kind of like, yeah, hits him on his like right side while he's in gear 4th, and he's assumed awakened. He hits him. Luffy absorbs that energy because he's rubber, right? Just kind of like how the Doflamingo, when he kicked him while he had hockey, he still had his rubber properties, right? So he absorbs that energy, and then he can redirect it from one
back.
side. Yeah, either bounce it back or from that one side, takes the energy Kaido hit him with, that equal energy, transfer to his other arm to punch him back with that.
That'd be awesome.
That's what I would think like his awakening would
seen
be,
it.
and it would be like a really good counter to all like the really hard hitting Yonkas, because you'd be like, because I mean they hit really hard, and if he could awaken that,
And we've seen it before. We've seen him do it to Doflamingo.
well, yeah, we've seen that's why I referenced like a small thing, like he can still keep his rubber properties while in hockey, but he awakens himself. Maybe not every hit, because maybe it'll be like, of course, Oda has like these limits, right? To make fights more intense, or
Oh yeah, if you can
high
hurt
stakes,
him.
right? Yeah, maybe he does get hurt, but he can transfer that energy to another part of his body for another
It
attack.
kind of reminds me of Urage, the Mad Monk. You know how he gets hurt.
Urage,
and he
yeah,
gets
he gets stronger and stronger. But
builds
with
up the
Luffy,
pain.
it's I'm trying to think. There's like, I'm pretty sure there's like a character in, if any of you have seen X-Men First Class, have you seen it, Eric? X-Men First Class. Okay,
Yeah, I
so
have.
there's a mutant, and kind of like this, when people are attacking him, he gets hit with these attacks, but he absorbs all the energy, right? And then he redirects it
Yeah.
in an attack.
That's a sad.
But I
that's
mean,
sad.
he
can only take so much though.
yeah, but he doesn't like energy beams, but or like energy kind of
He heats up.
manipulation.
So he
But
takes the energy and transfers it to heat
was it like
energy.
potential? Like his thing is like kinetic energy or something potential?
He can take kinetic
I
energy.
don't know, I'm just, like,
It's-
talking out
It's
my-
kinetic energy, which is similar to like heat
Right.
energy, and he took that and all the energy that he was getting hit with, he would absorb it and then he would shoot it out of his body as heat.
Yes. But Luffy just takes physical attacks, does it?
And he takes it back out he stores the elastic potential energy because he is a rubber band. That's elastic
Yeah.
potential energy. He can store it inside of his body as he's getting
And
hit,
then shoot.
and then he could punch it out all at one time, releasing the rubber band,
Right.
releasing all the energy.
Right. And that, I mean, of course, that's not like a really like sexy, awakening. But I mean, that I would see that making sense without like him like doing something like really kind of far out there.
What if there was more though?
I mean, that's what I mean, that would be one of the aspects I would think, right? But I feel like he would like it would be just him, not external forces. Cuz I personally don't like that idea. Some people do, and that's totally fine.
Yeah,
But
I could see that. What if he's able to
but what if he
store
did,
energy?
oh yeah, store it and then release it.
Yeah.
Like maybe like there's a time that like once he gets hit, he can like take all these hits, kind of like a Rouge, and then like basically
back.
dish it back out. And then you're saying like another aspect of like the awakening, right?
Yeah.
It just came to me right now. So you know how he takes, so like for me, like in a battle, it's all about of course, like force, but speed, right? Speed kills. You can't hit someone, or like you hit them fast enough where they can't hit you. So Luffy takes a lot of time, and I mean it's a Japanese manga. I mean, it's a manga, so of course they're gonna let them like power up. Take like 10 seconds or a minute to like boost up their power before they go and attack him and let them power up, which is a disadvantage. But what if his awakening, how he has to blow air into his body to bulk up for like third gear and then gear fourth.
Yeah.
What if he didn't have to do that for awakening? It cuts down that time, so he could just like
True, I can
just go into it.
But I've had an idea for a while similar. I mean, that would be cool if he didn't have to do that. But what if he's in his gear 4, he can get straight into it. But what if, how when he does his culverin and his arm is flying in all these different directions, it's like bouncing off the air.
Yeah.
It's bouncing off the air, and that's kind of where I'm going with that. He's turning the air into rubber. Say he turns the air into rubber, and he's able to use the air to bounce around, to fly, to move, to evade attacks. It's really kind of going up Luffy's alley because he's trying to avoid things. It's Monkey D. Luffy, so he's bouncing around like a monkey, going all over the place. I could see that being quite, part of his fighting style.
Yeah, could be.
So, and we really,
and I've seen, and that's a common thing that I've read people speculating on, speculating what Luffy's awakening would be, is where he turns just different stuff in the rubber, which I mean, like, I feel like that's extremely surface level, to where I mean it'd be kind of like a Bellamy kind of thing.
But he fought Bellamy. Bellamy and him have a history, so he usually does what he sees.
Right. I know. Yeah, he incorporates that
so
kind of stuff, but.
Could you see
that'd be if
he would take it to a next level. It'd be
that'd
Bellamy
be
on steroids.
His awakening would have that ability to do that, like just do the Doflamingo thing where like he steps and then boom, rubber. It's a rubber area.
Yeah.
Or affect the elasticity of whatever.
You can put people off balance. You'd be the only one.
You're in a bounce house. You're just fighting in a bounce house.
Everyone's bouncing around, but they wouldn't be able to control it, and you would have so much extraordinary agility. Luffy would have so much extraordinary agility compared to anybody he's fighting, and everyone would just be bouncing around, and they'd be flying, and they would just be punching, and they'd be flying.
Yeah, I guess, but it would kind of it'd be like the same thing over and over again.
Maybe.
Meaning that when he fights someone, he kind of pull that trick out.
Just do it works. If it works, why change it?
Do it works, yeah. So, I mean, but if he's like facing Aokiji,
I don't know if that would work.
Would that work? Because
maybe
he could
different. Because vulcanized rubber, maybe he can change the property of his rubber, where he can make it liquidy or hard. Maybe he can control the consistency. I just had like a weird thing, like he's like liquidy. He's like liquid rubber.
Melts all over someone.
But then he hardens it, and he can like trap you in his liquid rubber, and then it hardens, and then he can like string you back, and he can punch you with his other hand. Like just imagine this, like this scenario here. Luffy punches you, he liquidizes his arm around you.
That seems like
hardens, and then he pulls it in, and he punches you with his other hand.
Isn't there a game like that, like Prototype, kind of? I mean, it's not. They're not rubber, but
we're like
you. Yeah,
he just absorbs you.
Yeah,
and you're dead. I guess not dead, but gone. You become part of.
You're done. Prototype. You're done, son.
You're done, son. Absolutely.
That would, yeah.
That's a fun game. You should play that game.
Is that what you would stand by? Like, is that how is that what you would hope? Like, what I said is what I hope.
There's not any
awakening would be.
There's no evidence that, or even any
story
that shows that.
Not for either of those, but except for that one kick that I just referenced.
There's more of that, but there's more evidence that Luffy's just gonna be able to manipulate his environment than anything else.
But I think not with the zone. Like
that would be cool though. Oh, the zone. Continue.
Like the zone. They didn't manipulate anything outside themselves.
That's true, but Luffy, we've seen Paramesis and we've seen Logia's manipulate, but we haven't seen anything else really. So it's hard to say.
If someone that, like, let's say, Buggy, our OP man Buggy,
strongest character in the series,
basically, if he awakened, what would his awakening be? Because this is where I kind of like would counter someone on that in a fun way, not to put anybody down, but like, so what would he do? Like, just make, like, would he split the ground?
That would
be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool.
But the ground, and he could like shoot them at you. Like, blocks of earth just flying through the air.
So he, like, because like from what we've seen, he can only chop himself unless there's something that he hasn't shown us, or hasn't pushed his devil fruit to the maximum, right?
Maybe his awakening, he can take his feet off the ground.
Oh my god, dude, OP.
I know, right? OP, his whole body's flying now.
Right. Yeah, that's the only thing of his awakening. He can just fly.
He can just fly for real now.
No. But yeah, but like what? Because they have kind of like a similar kind of paramecia fruit where they don't affect other people. It's just themselves.
That's true. Maybe.
So like, because like, yeah, because that was the point I was kind of going back to when I was setting up my ideas. Doflamingo is a producer. Like he produces something with his devil fruit. Yeah. Logias produce something with their devil fruit. Zones don't produce anything. Logias they transform.
Are kind of like Katakuri, where he can produce, but they also are that thing.
Well, yeah, yeah.
So it's like 2 in 1. Yeah, and that's kind of why I really thought the Mochi Mochi should be a Logia, but it's not considered because it's not an elemental.
Yeah, but he makes mochi.
He can make it, and he is mochi.
So then that's the thing. He produces mochi.
He's a special paramecia because he's technically a Logia without having an element.
Yeah.
He's a food.
Yeah.
And mochi's actually pretty good. If you haven't had mochi, go try it. I love mochi. I had a mochi ice cream ball the other day. Fantastic.
So good.
Shout out to the Sunrise Market in Fort Collins, Colorado.
There you go. And we're not sponsored by them.
We're not sponsored by them.
But we should be.
Yeah, we should be.
But yeah, so that's the reasonings I brought, or my logic is, that's why it doesn't make sense to me that Luffy would produce something or affect something outside of him.
So what would Buggy do then?
Let's have that discussion. What would Buggy's awakening be? I mean, because I would say like, what would he do? Like disintegrate himself?
Yeah,
like he's just
small atomic pieces.
Yeah, but instead of like, because he does a chop. So like, have we ever
atomic samurai level?
Well, because we've seen him like chop in multiple ways, like on a Y and an X axis, right?
Yeah.
So
even horizontal slices.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But he can be.
Imagine atomic samurai.
I mean, how much, like, if you're chopping, Buggy, right? I mean, if you're in a horror movie, like, if you're chopping Buggy into pieces, right? How much would you be? Yeah, how, like, at what point would it stop chopping? You get to the atomic level, and then you just, like...
Can you cut an atom in half?
Boom. That's his limit.
Yeah.
That's his limit.
Nuclear bomb. You can only chop up so much.
So... yeah, what would
you chop the soul right out of him?
But or another idea, what if some devil fruits just don't have awakenings?
True.
That could be another possibility.
Or maybe Buggy's awakening. Maybe this is that hole. Maybe Buggy's awakening is turning the ground, his environment, into blocks.
Maybe he already did his awakening, and that's him flying.
Maybe, yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know.
He's old. He's like Shank's age, so he should be pretty powerful. Maybe he just has a weak devil fruit, and he never really was physically strong. So his devil fruit would only help him if he was Mihawk.
Like a tier.
Imagine Mihawk having that devil fruit. Someone's like, "I cut you, Mihawk." He's like, "Ha ha ha." Think again.
Yeah. So okay. Now that I brought the chop fruit awakening, what do you think? Do you still think it'd be the turning air into rubber?
Yeah, I think he could turn his environment into rubber still.
Still? Okay.
And it's hard to say because that's the only thing we've really seen for me, and I just got to stick with what I've seen. So it's the science in me. Other
than the other wild speculations that you always bring in all the other discussions?
Those are just for fun.
Okay.
They're for fun. I'm just trying to make it fun. I like to be creative, and I really love your idea, by the way. I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
I just don't know.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's possible. I think it's just possible, and it's just as possible to say, him turning his environment into rubber.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what do you think Luffy's awakening should be, and you have that, or if you have any evidence for that, include that too. Or if not, just give us the most creative answer you can.
Yeah,
That'd be, just have fun with it.
And be fun with it. And if you know someone who has a theory on some forum somewhere, let us know.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, give us a link, references.
Shoot a link to us, send us a link. But absolutely, we'd love to hear it. We want you guys to be as involved in this as we are. So if you guys are commenting or emailing us or sending us messages on Instagram, absolutely
DM us, slide in our DMs.
Yeah, slide in our DMs. We'll DM back. We both are active on it, so just shoot us up.
Yeah.
And we will talk to you.
Yeah. Well, this was a fun discussion, right?
Oh, I love this one.
This was really fun.
This one was good. So hey, it's Erik and it's.
So yeah, it's Mr. Six, the One Piece Doc podcast. Again, follow us on Instagram at onepiece.doc.podcast and like and subscribe to us.
Absolutely, and we're out.